Okay, so today we're going to be listening to an interview conducted by UBBK, Ubatu Barenkochas, one of the most famous journalists, football journalists in the country. Used to write a lot of columns that I used to read when I was younger. He interviewed Dr. Kaizer Motaung, Ubab Kaizer, and asked him a couple of questions. Now, I'm not going to be reacting to the whole thing. It's not going to be the whole thing. If you want to listen to the whole thing, I'll put a link in the descriptions. But it is available on Spotify, Sports Live with BBK. That is where you can check it out. So let's listen to a part of it. There's an interesting part that I heard, and I want us to listen, and I want to get your thoughts about it. So, Harutle or Ntate Kaizer Ore.
Now, is the standard of football at a level where it should be at the PSL?
Yeah, it depends which way, from which angle you look at it. But I think as far as the standard itself is concerned, it has improved. It's at another level. You must also understand that football has evolved. Technology plays a key role now today. It's not like before. Today, you have scientific football because in the past, you did not have sports science and stuff like that. Today, and also technology plays a part because information on players and everything is on the internet. You don't have to get to know team so and so, what type of players they have, or who and who, what is their strength and everything, because it's there, you can see.
First point, I don't know if I agree fully with him. The information is there. The stats are there. All of that stuff is there. But at some point, you need to go do some due diligence on the players, man. And I think maybe that's partly some of the reason why players come to Kaizer Chiefs, and you can tell that they were bought because they were doing well at their teams, but they were not bought because they're going to do well at Kaizer Chiefs, if that makes sense. So the stats say that Rangathi Vavairo scored 17 goals last season, which means that when you're looking for a deal, Marumo Callants is getting relegated, you go quickly on the stats, you see that he's got so many goals, and you go, yeah, I'm going to bring him in. But now Ranga steps into the team, and actually we start seeing him play, and you can somehow tell that they don't fit. And there's a long list of players. I'm not going to go through all of them, but you can think of your Rangas, you can think of your Manyamas, you can think of your Dollies, your Billiards, who are great players and have great moments. But you can tell that those moments are being created by their own individual talent, their own individual strengths, than it being a function of a team. So I'm reading a lot into it, but it might just be a case that, you know, if I pull up Transfermarkt and look at a player, I might think this player is going to be so incredible. They scored so many goals. And then now when they get inside, they don't fit. That's where the rest of your staff has to come in. That's where you have to have your analysts and all those people who are going to tell you how that person is going to fit in. Why are we buying these players? Because a lot of the times it feels like Chiefs buys for the sake of buying, you know. Oh, this one defender of the year, Jabulon Nobo. Let's bring him in. 6 months later, he's no longer playing. Or this one was a star over there. Let's bring him in. You know, Tanzania was a star at Cape Town City. Let's bring him in. But then 6 months later, he's not part of the team, and it's added players, added wages, space taken away, all of those things. So it might be a problem, what he's talking about now. You know, maybe you do need people to go and physically compile their own reports of people, of these players.
So the competition has become much stiffer than before. It's not like before where you knew you could run over a certain team because of the way your team is, you know, structured and everything like that. But today, you have to employ a big technical team, which includes sports science, physical trainer, and all that stuff.
Biokinetist and all
everything. So, and everyone plays a part in how the team performs. It's no longer about depending on the coach what he thinks and what he thinks about the way the game is playing and stuff like that. And And obviously some people, some coaches may not even have the strength and the knowledge to bring up exercises that suit certain players. So because certain players need individual training over and above this, the club training. So it has become very, very complex, football, and very scientific. So because of that, the standard has grown.
It's great in theory. What he's saying is great in theory. Who are these people at Kaizer Chiefs? Because whenever we deal with Kaizer Chiefs, and maybe it's on us fans to go and look for these people, but who are these biokineticists? Who are these sports scientists? Who is this big technical team that Ubab Kaizer speaks about? Because as we sit, I don't know who the technical director of Kaizer Chiefs is. Now that Kevin Johnson has moved interimly to the head coach, who's holding the chief scouting? Who's doing the role that Umulifintseki had before becoming head coach? Who are these people that are in the bag outside of coach, assistants, Gerald Sbego, and then we go straight to Abu Kaizer Jr., Nabo Pobi? Who are these people? At Sundowns, for example, you know about Michael Loftman, you know about Coach Wendell, you know about Fleming, the technical director. There was that guy they hired for the academy. You know all of these people and their roles. What's Atazwane's current role at Kaizer Chiefs? Like, if I was to say, what's the name of it? Is he development coach? Is he head of development? Is he head of youth? What's his role? And I feel like Ubab Kaizer is saying all of the right things. But when we drill down and look at the team and we go, who does what? I think then it becomes a little murky. Then it becomes a little shady. We're not sure about all of these things he's speaking about. He speaks about not being able to run over certain teams because of your structure. Sundowns is doing it. Chiefs did it for years, right? Maybe he says it's changed, but there's a team right now that is profiting off of an incredible structure, an incredible build, right? And they're running over teams. They're 6 years winning the league. They're 10 games right now unbeaten in the league. They're going to AFLs. They're doing all these things. How then do you sit back and say that you can't run over teams? And I feel like it's part of the issue at Kaizer Chiefs for me is there's a lack of accountability as to all of the stuff. Richards Bay, Royal AM, Cape Town Spurs to a degree can only wish to have the history, the facilities, the people that Kaizer Chiefs does. So why must I accept, even money, why must I accept that Kaizer Chiefs can't go and beat a less resourced team? Why does he feel as though this technology is making everything so close? Can some of the teams afford to implement the technology that he's speaking about? You get what I mean? It's those type of things where I'm like, it feels as though there's a lack of accountability. Like it feels as though there's a lack of everything is the issue. No, teams are better. No, this is better. No, that is better. No, these guys are doing that. No. At some point, you need to take accountability and say, guys, we are Chiefs, we're big. We need to take this thing forward. We need to become what we were. We need to aim for the top spot,
So does it mean that this standard has grown multiple times for a Sundowns that has been able to dominate the PSL for 6 years with teams that are the nearest in terms of finishing second position being a huge gap behind them? With all these things that you are mentioning, I see the gap between Sundowns and the rest growing, and it's not narrowing, even though you're arguing that the standards have improved.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, you find a Sundowns that goes and plays in the CAF Champions League, goes recently and plays in the AFL, and still nobody catches up with them.
Thank you, BBK. Thank you. This is what I'm talking about. It's improved. All of the owners are complaining about money. Is that an improvement? It's improved. 6 years of watching Mamelodi Sundowns win the league over and over again, even win competitions that were made up in the last 2 years, in the last year even, EAFL, right? Can we say there's improvement? Can we say that we're moving forward? Especially since not only are they winning the league, give us 16 points, guys. Pirates were 16 points behind them. 13 points the previous year was number 2. So then it's like, can we say that the league is improving, or can we say that there's a team that has figured out how to improve and the rest of them have been left behind? How many of the teams have large technical teams? Can they afford to have large technical teams? As to Ubabkeza's previous point, again, the words sound great, but when you drill down and actually look at the actual workings, the actions of the words, you can see that it's different. It's not that. We're lacking somewhere.
Doesn't that contradict what you are saying?
No, it doesn't. Sundowns have done very well because of what I've just mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
They wouldn't be where they are if they did not have those structures and expertise in their team. It is just how they use those structures, and they've done very well. You must give them credit, but I don't think it's only happening in South Africa. It happens everywhere in the world. I mean, the Bundesliga. How many years Bayern has been dominating that league? Same
with the French league with PSG.
Yeah.
But then does that not say something about the competitors of Bayern, of PSG, of Sundowns? What are they doing?
No, they are doing something good, but obviously, as I say, they've done a good job, but it doesn't mean because every team has now got those structures, every team will be on top. There will always be one team on top. Man City is there, is in the English league, it is dominating. How many years have they been winning the league?
But the competition, at least there.
Liverpool took 30 years to win the league.
Yes.
Yeah.
But in England, at least you've got a Man City that is being pushed by Liverpool, being pushed by Arsenal. At least you know that the league is not going to be finished with 7 games to go, as it's been the case with Sundowns in South Africa.
I didn't expect those words from Ubabkeza. I've been one of the people that has always called for him to, quote unquote, come back and run the team. But it's disheartening, man. It kills me to hear him say that there can only be one team that's dominating. It's happening all over the world. Bayern Munich does it. Man City does it, and all of that stuff. Liverpool took 30 years to win the league. That's not something I want to hear from the owner, the chairman, the big man at the club. It feels as though they've resigned themselves to the fact that we're going to lose and not challenge Sundowns. That it's almost like we have to wait for Sundowns to die on its own. And the other sad part is that Bayern Munich has been Bayern Munich since since the German league was a thing. They've been dominating ever since. So when Pirates was dominating, at what point do you then go, what is the cause of us going down? Then he mentioned Manchester City, for example. Manchester City, from day one, they didn't come in and say, Chiefs is so good. Manchester United is so good. We can't fight them. Sundowns didn't come into the league and go, Ntate Motsepe didn't come into the league and go, Kaizer Chiefs, can they beat them? You have to be number one. He didn't do all of that stuff. He came in and he said, I want to make a team that's going to be top of Africa. That's the type of attitude that I would love to hear from my owners. I would love to hear Ubabkeza coming out and saying with his chest that, guys, we see Sundowns as dominating, kudos to them. We are going to catch them. In fact, we're not going to catch them, we're going to surpass them. We want Chiefs to be back. We want Chiefs to be back at the top, and even further up, we want them to be Africa's champions. But it feels like all he's saying here is excuses. All he's saying is things that consolation prizes that make us feel better. Liverpool had not won a league in 30 years, but they've got 2 or 3 Champions Leagues, if I'm not mistaken, or 2. Where's our star there? Where's our consistent performance in in Africa's competitions there? if the league is gone. Now it's been 8 years without a trophy. Where's our performance within the local league then? Fine, the league is gone. You've accepted it. Man City is on top. Man City doesn't win a treble every season. The competitors to Man City go out and they do well in the Champions League while also challenging them. Meanwhile, over here, 7 games left, as BBK says, it's done. How? How do you get to that level, you know?
It's unfortunate that we are at that stage where there is an imbalance, but you must also give credit where it's due. Sundowns have done very well because of what the issues I've just mentioned. They've done well in those areas, and it's for us to be able to catch them.
How is Kaizer Motaung and the people at Naturena Village going to catch Sundowns? What are they doing? One of the successes of Sundowns, above all that you've mentioned, is that they've had stability in their coaching departments. The years that Pitso Mosimane was in charge of the team gave birth to so many trophies and even increasing Sundowns' dominance in Africa and being a team that is mentioned amongst the greatest from the continent. It goes to Manqoba Mngqithi, it moves to Rulani Mkwena, and success continues. Juxtapose that against what has happened at Naturena with the high turnover of coaches in recent years.
That is obviously one of the reasons why we're not challenging Sundowns. I mean, you've just mentioned it. So that's why I say you must give them credit, because they have had. But before this, if you recall, Sundowns, before they started winning, Pitso was on the verge of being sacked because he was leaving the stadium under a police escort.
2012, I recall that very well.
So it didn't just happen because Pitso was there.
But it happened because they stuck with him. They had a vision that they
stuck with him. But
thank you, PBK. I have a feeling that a lot of the teams in the PSL are trying to copy page 9 of the book. You know, if there's a book, it's 9 pages, and Sundowns is on page 9. They're trying to do page 9 instead of page 1. So if page 1 says, your coach is under fire, stick with him. He's been escorted by police out of stadiums, stick with him. And Ubab Kaizer references Umutsepe doing that with Upitso. Why then have you not stuck with the people you've chosen? You know, so many times I've said that I don't work at Kaizer Chiefs. I have opinions. I have a show. We speak about football. But at the end of the day, I'm not inside. I don't know what his contract says. I don't know how long it is. I don't know what the interview process was like. I have no idea what the long-term plans of Kaizer Chiefs are. But what we can respect is if they were to come out and say, guys, this is our man. You guys can be angry, you can do all of that stuff, but we are going to stick with him through thick and thin, because we have done our due diligence where we've looked into him and Simketele, there's something we've brought him in for. And we're not going to stop until he does that thing. But now your man is under fire, you let him go. Your man is, the next guy is under fire, he also goes. Next person is under fire, also goes. At what point do you stop that, and do you not develop a culture within the team where I've got a voice, that person's got a voice, there's 100,000 of us who've got a voice, and everybody can get angry. And those 1,000 fans at a stadium that are throwing things, those people can change the trajectory of a team like Kaizer Chiefs. For me, that is a leadership issue, if that makes sense. For me, it's, then you guys didn't do your job. Then you guys aren't doing your job. In fact, you're scapegoating the coaches. You're giving us a face that we're going to be angry at and that is going to be disposable. Because that maybe is also the culture at Kaizer Chiefs. That, you know what? If we bring in a guy that is expensive and has all of that stuff, it's going to be hard to break his contract. Now the fans are angry and I can't fire him. Let's go for an easy out. Is that maybe what's happening? Is Atazwane coming in as a former legend gonna give him time? But then also, if people get angry, I don't have to move mountains to get rid of Uata or move Uata. Umulifinteki, I don't know how he came to Kaizer Chiefs, but he comes into Kaizer Chiefs. You know that he's been out in the cold for a very long time. He may be grateful to Abobab Kaizer. If it works out, it's great. If it doesn't work out, nobody's going to cry when you fire him. You get me? Is that what Kevin Johnson is? Is that maybe a culture that has now infiltrated Kaizer Chiefs? That, imagine we hire Unabi. And Nabi comes with all of these people, and we're paying all of these people plus him, and Nabi loses, and fans want him out. Do we look at it and go, Yazini, we have to do this hard thing and fire this man, or do we bring in somebody that we can just get rid of? That's how it feels. That's how it feels now that I'm listening to it. But anyway, let's hear this.
I also understand the fact that there's something that is creeping into our game now, which is hooliganism in football. Violence which is not unwarranted. So we are forced sometimes to be able to take decisions to get rid of coaches, which we have obviously, which is uncharacteristic of Chiefs to be changing so many coaches. But because of the pressure and because of the unruliness and lack of understanding from the men on the stand, this has forced us to take some of the steps that we took, because at the end of the day, people are not here. We have to protect their lives. We cannot continue putting a man there when people want to pelter him with stones all the time, and you can't protect him.
Is it not though?
But you just referenced 2010 or whenever, when Pizzo, this was happening to Pizzo. This is what I'm saying, that I don't get that part of it, right? So again, you've now given me a situation where this happened to a coach and they stuck with him. And that all of the good that came with doing that came. Also, with the coaches, I'd have to look into it. But from memory, there's only been, I don't think there's been more than 5 coaches that have gotten 3 years in a row at Kaizer Chiefs. Kaizer Chiefs is known for moving coaches on after 2 years, whether they've won or not. So this thing of uncharacteristic of Kaizer Chiefs to get rid of coaches so quickly, I don't understand that. I don't understand that. But anyway, let's carry on.
Mr. K, a question of, this is the Chiefs way. Getting a man who is going to come in and be given a project to say, this is the Chiefs way. You made mention of Arsenal earlier on. I think Kaizer Jr. also is a great fan of Arsenal. The system there is that you have Edu, their former Brazilian player, who is the sporting director. You've had Arteta, who has come in to try and change the situation at Arsenal after many years of not doing well. And it is a project. It is a project that you work on in a way that Jurgen Klopp did at Liverpool as well, hence them winning the league for the first time in 30 years. Is it not a case of Kaizer Chiefs saying that this is our vision, this is our man, he comes in with his people and he takes his team to where we catch it, it can regain the status?
This has always been our aim. Unfortunately, along the way you get derailed by unruly people who don't understand, who become very emotional. And that is a challenge that we are facing right now. We need to go over it, but at the end of the day, I'm sure we will be able to get it right.
And you were...
It also feels like there's a dislike of fans. Like it feels like he says there, we are emotional people who don't understand, or hooligans who are doing this unwarranted. It's been 8 seasons without a trophy. Not only has it been 8 seasons without a trophy, we've watched another team go to the highest of highs, and it's not Pirates. Another team go to the highest of highs. They've got a star. They've just won continental glory. Their women's team is winning trebles. Their DDC team is on top of the log, if I'm not mistaken. There's so many things where fans are warranted to feel a way. But the messaging that's coming from the village, to tell us that we're zabalazing, to tell us that way and we're bringing our stresses, to tell us that it's unwarranted, to tell us that we're hooligans. We've supported this team. Me, personally, my whole life. There were times where you've never had to question management. For a good 2 decades of my life, you've never had to question management. You knew that they were doing the best for the club. But now to turn around and blame the fans, they're acting as though Chiefs has won the league, Sweeney League, for 5 years. And say, Rewina. And you guys are speaking just the worst drivel. It's sad, man. It's sad. And once you start losing your fans, once you start blaming your fans, and once you start doing all of that, that for me is uncharacteristic of Kaizer Chiefs. And to hear it from so many people. Obi was telling us the other day. Now Bob Kaizer is telling us now. Now Jessica's going to have to come out and massage the situation. Now Kaizer Jr. Like, there's so many things where, again, we're hearing words. And the words are targeted at us. And the words are targeted at another team that's doing well. And we're hearing all the excuses. And now us fans too. The people who buy the jerseys every year, the people who come to stadiums, the people who supported this team, the people who go home into their personal lives and fight people. I don't know if they understand that part. Maybe WhatsApp group or whatever. But to have to deal with that every single day, the other fans on top of us. But then we are the problem. Monday, when you're sitting at work, it's like an hour after the game ends, when they're carrying you in the comments, they're carrying you on the socials, they're carrying you over WhatsApp. Then it's, those hooligans. Those people who don't understand, the man in the stands who doesn't understand. It's also telling that the man in the stand who doesn't understand is dictating to people who are meant to understand, or in this case, who he's insinuating do understand. All right, guys. Anyway.
Confident that Atazwan and Emolefinse were going to be able to steer it in that direction.
Well, yes and no, but at the same time, I think yes, because any coach who comes in needs to be given time.
Yes.
You cannot bring a coach and expect results immediately and think you'll win the league in the next season. So it might happen, but what we need is to exercise patience, because things like this are not built overnight.
It's been 8 seasons, Bob Case. It's 8 seasons. It's not overnight. It's 8 years. We've been promised and promised and promised and promised. We were patient with Coach Steve Kompela through his 3-year tenure. We were patient when you guys, brought in Abomidolo. Bidolo did very well. Then he got fired. We were patient throughout all of this time. How much more patience do you expect? How much more patience?
When he came in, there was no length of how long it's going to be. He had come in as a head of the academy over a 3-year contract, and he was in the last year of his contract. Currently, Kevin Johnson is on an interim basis. What is happening behind the scenes? Is there a process underway of identifying the man who is going to be taking things forward for Kaizer Chiefs?
Yes, definitely.
How many CVs are on your table?
I cannot say at the moment how many CVs are on the table, but that process is taking place.
How many names?
I think I'm gonna stop it there. If you wanna watch the full thing, this is only 10-15 minutes of a 55-minute interview. So I urge you to go and check out Sports Talk with BBK. I'm listening on Spotify. It is available on other places. I'm disappointed, man. I'm disappointed. I listened to this interview, and you want more from your club. Like, a club of Chiefs' history, Chiefs' stature, Chiefs' everything. You expect them to want more. You expect them to be hurting because of what Sundowns is doing. You expect them to be hurting because of not having trophies. The team that, in the PSL era, there was a stretch where we won a trophy every single year, at least one trophy every single year for a while. I think it stopped with Coach Steve or Mezovic, one of the two. And you sit back and you go, these are not the words that I want to hear. And these are the words that are coming out of Jessica's mouth, are coming out of Bobby's mouth, are coming out of Kaizer Jr.'s mouth. And maybe you take it for granted, but then when you hear it come from the legend, the great, the founder, the chairperson, it doesn't sound like Ubab Kaizer that I remember. That was hungry to win, that was hungry to take everything, that was hungry to stay on the top, that was hungry to do all of these things. It doesn't seem like we're in the same team. It doesn't seem like it. It could be very easy to come out here and act and be big and braggadocious and go, no, we want to do this and want to do that. But they can't even bring themselves to say that. Can't even bring themselves to say, in this interview, have we heard him out and out say that, no, as the Sundowns, don't worry, we're coming for them. No, as the Sundowns, we're winning the league in the next year. We're winning the league in the next 2 years. When you look at their coaching choices, the player choices, when you look at all that stuff, it doesn't reek of a team that is desperate to go back to the top or be on top. It doesn't, you don't get that from this team. And to be fair, you don't get that from the PSL. But these are the leaders of our PSL. These are the leaders of Ubab Kaizer. If technology and staff and all of that is paramount to our success, is the best thing they need to do, is the top thing on the list, do you think we'd be wasting time? Do you think the people that are sitting on the bench would still be sitting on the bench? Do you bring in a Mulifintseki? For example, and no disrespect to Coach Ntseki, but he hadn't coached in the PSL. He had been out of the PSL for a very long time. He'd been out of football, well, at least at our level. He'd been out of football for a very long time. That's the person you bring in? That's the person. You look, just cook up and everything is updated. The thoughts, the training, the coaching staff, the what, the this, the that. They've gone out and they've sought the best technical directors from Europe. They're the best academy runners from Europe. They've done this, they've done that. You can tell that is a team that is aiming for success. And I think if there's one mistake of PSL that the PSL has made, is allow there to be one team that is showing you what it looks like when a team is serious. For those Chiefs fans who don't understand what it was like back then, this is what Sundowns is doing now, what Sundowns is like now, how the fans are acting, what they're saying, that's how we were. I feel sorry for anybody who started supporting Chiefs in the last 8 years. But to close it off, I expected more from Ubab Kaizer. I expected much more. When I saw the interview, I thought to myself, finally, man, finally, Ubab Kaizer, he's going to set this ship right. And he also blames the fans. He also seems to have thrown in the towel versus the Sundowns. He also seems to have thrown in the towel trying to get players, trying to get coaches. Like, it feels, the way that he was speaking at the beginning of the interview about the history of Kaizer Chiefs and what they were doing in their building. Contrast that to how he speaks about Chiefs now. And it's just sad, man. It's sad. Like that we're going out like this, or that Chiefs is this now. 10 years. We're about to go to 10 years without a trophy. We're end of this season and next season. We're about to go 10 years without a trophy. And nobody seems stressed. Their words are one thing, but their actions teach you everything that you need to know about the Kaizer Chiefs. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining me. Hopefully it turns around. It's not going to turn around because of Sundowns now doing us a favor and slowing down on our behalf. They need to get up and start acting. They need to change some of the attitudes and the actions and the people even in the back. But yeah, I'll catch you on the next one. Please like, subscribe, share, help grow the channel. See you guys.